Hi, welcome to the BariNation podcast, where we support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty. I'm April.
I'm Jason.
I'm Natalie.
We are three bariatric patients on a mission to help connect one another with the experts, the resources, the education, and the community that we need to find success along our bariatric journey. Part of our journey is learning about self-love and how we actually learn to get to this point where we kind of love ourselves, pieces, parts, the whole, some of it, So this is our summer of self-love. And today we thought we would just take the time and connect with one another and just update all of you, our friends, our followers, our listeners, and our watchers about our bariatric lives and what has been transpiring these last couple months with us and our self-love journey.
Yes, super excited because it has been a minute since we've even connected.
I was just going to say, it's been, you guys maybe have not seen a lull in us, but we have not, the three of us have not connected since I think early June, and it is now mid-July. So if you guys know anything about us, that is a long time for us to go without connecting with one another. We were even talking for about 40 minutes before this, just catching up because we just haven't seen each other or talked to each other. So this is going to be really good. I'm excited.
It is. I kind of feel like, so, when you're, within friend groups, right? The group can be clicking along and then something happens and it just has this period of lull, right? It's because everybody's lives have just kind of like blown up or something has happened, right? And you get out of rhythm. And I feel like this is kind of like us getting back in rhythm with each other and just with each other's journeys and really just with ourselves. I know I do better when I'm connecting with you all. I do better when I'm attending support groups and BariNation and classes and doing all those things. So I'm excited to kind of get back into that rhythm for myself and with all of you too.
Absolutely.
All right. I just say, let's just dive in. Let's just go for it.
Do it.
All right. So self-love is kind of this like tricky concept, right? It's a very buzzworthy term right now. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, it's what we should be doing. But there really is meat behind it. Self-love is a tool that we can use to get us through the really hard and difficult days. And it can also help us maybe make a little bit more progress on the good days. So self-love doesn't mean that you love every single aspect of something or your life or your journey. It just means that you can acknowledge where you're at in the moment and just speak about that moment with some neutrality or kindness. Mm-hmm. Right. So this isn't about being falsely positive. This isn't about like pumping yourself up. This isn't about faking it until you make it. It's about just acknowledging where you're at and honing in on the things that you can do in the moment to show yourself a little bit of kindness.
Yeah, it's really about checking in with yourself and saying, what do I need right now? Like, do I need nourishment? Do I need comfort? Like really checking in and saying like, okay, what do I need in this moment? And how can I fill that need? Is really what we're finding out is self-love. In the end, it's not that big social media toxic positivity movement that we've seen. It's really just like, what do I need and how can I make that happen for myself?
Yeah, one of the biggest things about it in my mind with the self-love part is just being honest with yourself, because that's where you get away from the just cheering for the sake of cheering and just do it. Like if you do an honest like check down with yourself and realize kind of where you're lacking, where you think you're missing, some things that may feel a little more empty than they should. Those are the buckets you need to fill first so that it kind of overflows to the others. But yeah, to me, it all kind of starts with that just raw honesty with yourself.
Yep. I know a lot of times this summer and even before, and probably in the future, when I ask myself, what do I need right now? Not usually, sometimes my answer is something that's not as aligned to my bariatric goals, right? Like sometimes it's like, I need a blizzard from Dairy Queen, or I need a glass of wine, or I need, right? Like, and there are some moments where indulging in those things are truly showing myself some kindness, but it's really having that conversation with myself to say, okay, you need a blizzard. Do you really need a blizzard? Or do you need something else? Like, what you were talking about, Jason, right? Like we can talk ourselves into anything and everything. It takes a lot of skill to talk us into what will truly be the most beneficial in the moment. As Melanie says, what's that next right step? What's that next right thing that I can do? And right, the goal is to make those decisions that are aligned as often as we can. And blizzards can be aligned, right? A glass of wine can be aligned. But if we're not having those honest conversations with ourselves, and if we're not answering that question honestly, then we're not actually practicing self-love. We're practicing kind of the opposite of that. We're kind of being harmful to ourselves and our journey.
Yeah, self-love turns into self-sabotage kind of quick if you're not careful.
Yeah. And asking yourself why. That's been my thing, is like, okay, I need a blizzard. Why? Because
right?
chances are the why is going to be, well, I haven't eaten enough today. Okay, maybe you should get some chicken tenders and some French fries instead of getting a blizzard. Like, I feel like when you answer the why part of that, you can actually correct your next move in that moment. Whereas like, I need a blizzard. Okay. It's like, no, just ask yourself why. And if it really is like, oh, I just really want to feel nostalgic right now. I, how many of us went to Dairy Queen and got a blizzard with our grandparents? And like, it's like sometimes you just want to feel like taken back to a point in time, and like that's fine. But like as long as you know why, I feel like then it just makes it a little bit more okay in the moment. Whereas it's just like if you just give into it up front, then I guess I feel more guilty, or I feel shame for just giving in instead of pushing back.
Well, what you're describing though is the work of weight loss surgery, right? When you take the extra step and you ask yourself, why am I craving this? Why do I need this? That's the work of weight loss surgery. Because before you just would have said, I need a blizzard, and you would go get a blizzard, right? The work of weight loss surgery is inserting some time and a pause in between the I want and then taking action to better understand, why do I want this? Why am I craving this? I know for me, most of the time, the answer is because I'm stressed, mad, angry, right? Like you fill in the blanks. And Laura Grabo gave us that awesome tool or technique to think about. If you have a craving and you say like, oh, I need, or I want some, you fill in the blank. Is that desire coming from up here, from your head, or is it coming from your stomach? If it's coming from your stomach, it's probably physical, actual hunger. But if it's coming from up here, that's head hunger. That is emotional. You are trying to fill an emotional void, right? With those, with what we've always done, which is probably with food. And that's the work of weight loss surgery. It's just right undoing those.
Well, in doing, kind of what Matt was saying with the doing the honest work with it and asking yourself why, if you answer yourself honestly and correctly, the shame aspect of it won't be there when you're done eating the blizzard, when you're done eating whatever it is you want to eat, the blizzard, the candy bar, the whatever, the ice cream, whatever it is, like, because you did the pre-work. The post, the aftermath won't be near as bad. You won't be wrecking yourself thinking, well, now I've done it, now I've screwed up everything because I did this or that. But if you do it ahead of time and say, hey, look, why is it that I'm, it's no different than if you wanted to drink alcohol. Well, why am I doing it? Because I had a stressful day. Am I looking to just have a drink and celebrate with friends, or am I looking to get blackout and have somebody come drag me home? Like, that's two different, completely opposite ends of the spectrum. If you just want to go get ice cream because, you're like, hey, like when we have the grandkids here, we went and got ice cream, a lot, because that's what you do when you have when you have little kids and they want to go do stuff. You get done at the beach, you go get a snow cone, you go get ice cream. Like, if you're doing it for celebratory things like that, and you kind of build your day around it or build the next day around it, like we always talk about, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you do that tonight, and then you do it again in the morning, and then you do it again tomorrow afternoon, and if you continue the pattern, like, then you're not just having one to have one for nostalgia's sake or just because you feel like it's sake. Like, those are different. As long as you can recognize, realize, take a breath and say, hey, this is what it is, this is why I'm doing this, and then move forward, then, like you said, it's the work of weight loss surgery, and you're actually putting preventative steps in to say, oh, maybe I don't need it right now, but, like Nat always says, can you make it till bedtime? Okay, maybe we'll go get one tomorrow. And then if tomorrow comes and you make it to bedtime tomorrow, maybe you push it off to the next day. It's not always about feeding that instantaneously, because that's what we did pre-op. It was always the second the thought hit your mind, it was, let's go to the drive-thru. You grab your keys, or if you're already out, you just make that hard-ass right turn into the entrance and go right through. Or like me, if the red light was on at Krispy Kreme, they were calling me specifically, so you got to go. You got to make the turn. Like, that's all part of it. Like, you just have to, as long as you can create a pause between the thought of wanting it and actually, getting it, then that's, you're doing the work.
And I think that's the point that we're all trying to make. I emotionally eat still. I'm not going to say that I don't do that. I think where the difference is I can say, I know that I am emotionally eating right now. And I can say that to myself. And then I can say, I'm going to work on this tomorrow. Like, this is going to be my journal prompt for tomorrow. Or, I'm going to work through this with my therapist this week. Something I can make that mental note now, because I can recognize that I'm emotionally eating, or I can recognize that I'm eating something to soothe myself. Whereas prior to surgery, prior to a year ago, I didn't even know that I was doing that. And so I think that's the part of like the self-love that we're kind of trying to get at, is like taking those moments, taking those pauses. And even if you don't stop what you're doing to pivot, the fact that you're pausing at all to pivot later is still huge, and it's still showing you that self-love. So I just wanted to clarify that too, because it's not like I'm not emotionally eating. I emotionally ate earlier today, but I recognize that I emotionally ate, and I'm going to work through it later.
and just like everything else with our journey, we're not going to nail this part either. Like, don't just expect to just have it all down and then get upset because you're actually doing it, because you're still doing it. Because like I said, we still do it. Like, it still happens, but it's giving yourself the space and the grace to realize that you're actually working on it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to master it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to know that you're working towards a goal, and you're going to get there. It just takes time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as Laura Grabo says, almost every week in her emotional eating support groups that she leads for us in BariNation, she reminds us all, emotional eating is not a bariatric condition; it's a human one. Every human emotionally eats. So, right, this is not something that you exclusively are battling. This is something that every human turns to at some point in their lives. And the point of doing this work is that we recognize when we're doing it, and we can start making tiny shifts away from it. That's all. That's a good segue, though. We should take some time and answer our own questions. And the question that we started off with today was, how are we practicing self-love this summer? What are we doing? What are we noticing? Nat, you want to start us off?
Yeah. So my intentions going into the summer have changed since the summer has started. As a life update, I learned last weekend that I do have to move out of my current living situation by September 30th. So a little over 60 days to kind of figure out all of that and just be out of my place, which I knew was coming, but now I have a fire under my butt to actually get me going. So while the chaos of life is happening, I'm really just trying to show myself love by like the bariatric basics. Like, are you getting in your water? Are you getting in your protein? Are you moving for at least 30 minutes a day? I used to walk 45 minutes to an hour a day. Now I'm lucky if I get 30 minutes, and I'm just taking that and saying, okay, that's your minimum. That's your requirement for the day. Those of you who are in BariNation support groups and meetups with me know that I've been struggling with getting in enough nutrition during the day, and that I'm really hungry at night. And that we know with bariatric surgery, that does not work out well because we cannot make up for lost time. So it's really just back to basics and making sure that I'm focusing on hydration, protein, and movement, which is frustrating in some respects, because I feel like you always kind of feel like you're set back, even though you're not. It just feels that way. So this last week, I've really had to like come to terms with like, this is just where I'm at. And I have to like acknowledge and accept where I'm at and continue to move forward. So really just showing myself love by listening to my body and making sure that I'm fueling it and taking care of it the best way that I know how, which is all of those things. So that's all I can do.
I mean, the thing that popped into my brain when you said that about like, oh, I feel like I'm taking a step back. No, you're just circling back. You're circling back to basics.
Yep. Yeah, I like that.
Which is what, yeah. I mean, and we all have to do this. It's like a moment of recalibration, right? It's like when you realize like, oh, this car's not driving the way that it used to be doing. I need to calibrate. I need to circle back and get this thing taken care of.
Yeah. And I mean, I struggled with like all the feelings of like, oh, no, I have to spend my summer working on moving. And like, you know, especially in Washington, like summer is just like this golden sweet nectar from the heavenly gods. Like you're just so excited for summer, summer, summer. And so now it's like, oh, now I'm going to be stressed all summer. And like, I don't know. I definitely got in my head this last week, and I'm coming out of it more with a healthier mindset, thanks to the community, because I've been immersing myself in BariNation groups over the weekend and today. But yeah, just trying to show myself that love by allowing myself to get what I need when I need it, and just space and grace. Grace and grace. So
Grace and grace. Well, and I so appreciate you calling out the other way that you're showing yourself self-love. And that is you took the time and you are taking the time to be mad and angry and sad and bummed out. You left space for those feelings to move through you and beyond you so that you could move on. That's self-love.
Yeah, I was really upset last week. You know, got home from vacation. I'm like, okay, now back to reality. And then, you know, this happens and you're just like, well, now, I mean, today is not a good example. It's very cold in Seattle today. It's like 65, whatever bullshit. But it is, summer is just so nice in Washington. And I hate that I have to do other things. But we're getting through it.
Well, we're getting through it. Well, I'll share a little bit of tidbit about that because I'm doing the same thing you are. You just got to do what you got to do sometimes. Jason, my friend, what about you? How are you showing yourself self-love?
I've had to do a lot of pausing and pivoting this summer because life, me and life have been in it. Me and life have been embroiled in quite the battle this summer. So after losing my father, going home, you know, handling the memorial service, finally getting all that behind me, able to kind of reprocess and refocus back into, you know, life. It's kind of like what Nat was saying. And then, you know, you think you're getting back to reality and the reality has other plans and smacks the shit out of you and makes you realize that you just thought you were getting back to reality. Now you get back to a different kind of reality. So I realized that after that, all that happened, like I was on you know, I've been talking about my regain journey for a while. And, you know, the ups and downs that have come with that and the things that I've been dealing with just weren't going in the direction that I wanted them to, especially as quick as I wanted to. So as soon as I got back from my trip, talked to my primary care physician, and we decided to give Wegovy a shot. So, no pun intended. So, started with that 2 weeks ago, and this Thursday will be my third week in a row, my third shot. So, just kind of trying to see what, you know, is in store for me with that. They've done the ramp up. So I started at the 0.25 and then I'll jump up to the 0.5 with this next round. But I just observationally trying to figure out what that looks like for me and kind of how to navigate my days. Because plus, on top of all of this, they've started bringing us back to the office 1 day a week. So now I'm having to, add that into everything else that's going on. So that's a fun time. So the only plus to that is that they did reinstate Florida dress code, which means I can wear shorts again. So I'm super excited about that. So shorts and tennis shoes are cool again. They've actually added t-shirts to the list, and I can wear Crocs if I'm, so inclined. I'm not so inclined because nobody needs to see what's going on these feet. So, but yeah, no, that part was kind of was easing it back in. So that's not as bad, and it's only 1 day a week, but doing that and trying to, navigate, like I was telling the ladies before I came on here, when I got the shot, it was a Thursday. So I started on a Thursday. So those are my shots. Well, I'm in the office on Wednesdays. So for those of you that are on GLP-1 meds and those that are not, like those that are on it will understand, but those that aren't, once you get to the point where your shot's wearing off and it's time to take the new shot, like for myself, I realized that the clarity that comes with taking the shot wears off around Wednesday, which is when I'm back in the office. So not only does the mental clarity kind of fade a little bit, but the hunger comes kind of roaring back, or it has for me anyway. So being in the office and not having ready access to food like I normally would if I'm home, kind of a little bit of panic set in when that happened. I was telling, April and Natalie that it was crazy for me to feel like, because I have, like, you can tell by looking at me, I've never missed a meal in my life. Never, not ever. Never had an instance where I wasn't sure where food was coming from. I've been blessed that way. So the panic really had me confused because I was like, I don't know what I'm freaking out about. It's not like all the food in the world is gone now and I don't have access to any. Like I only have like 2 hours of work left. Like I should be able to just kind of maintain until I get home. But it was just strange to me for that to have happened. And of course, it was my first week, so I didn't know what that was going to look like. So we'll see what it's like when I go back on Wednesday this time to see. But it just, like, I'm doing a lot of new things for me, a lot of new firsts for me that I wasn't planning on, but I'm taking them in stride, giving myself the space and the grace to know when it's when too much is too much, and really taking time to unplug, sit back, and just kind of process everything. Because when my father passed away, there was not, like, no plans were made for his memorial for like almost a month after he passed. It was a good 2.5, almost 3 weeks before any like concrete plans were set. So I basically put the grieving process on hold. Like, I knew what had happened and I was trying to process, but I really couldn't because I knew it really wasn't going to hit me until I got home. So I'm sitting here trying to figure all that out, process all this stuff, and kind of move through. Really had a problem doing that. And then once I got home, luckily I was sitting kind of in a hotel by myself. So I just kind of was able to let everything go and think about it, process it in that way. So when I came home, I could kind of just get to a point where new normal can set in and I can start moving forward. So it has been a lot of, like, this summer has been very trying for me. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but I will say that not only these two ladies here with me, but the community as a whole has rallied around me and helped me with the outpouring of messages, the support, the love, the respect, and the well wishes. All the things I got from you guys really kept me going because I really wasn't sure how I was going to handle this. So, one of the worst things for me in this situation was having to tell my kids and, ever kind of notify people that, of what had happened. So you guys really gave me the strength to be able to do that and push forward, and you guys also gave me the space to process it on my own, but know that if I needed anything, I can reach out to any number of you all and you'd be there in an instant. And that really, I can't thank everybody enough for that, because that really got me through one of the hardest times that I've been through. So,
and I wanted to circle back though, because the Jason that sits before us is vastly different than the Jason even in January. Because you're trying things that I don't know if you would have tried with as much enthusiasm or willingness to try like you are now. And so I wanted to give you that kudos, just because you are going through this huge life event, losing your dad and having to, be there for your family, and also feeling like you have to be there for the bariatric community. I mean, there's a lot kind of sitting on your shoulders, and at the same time, you're using this moment to show yourself that self-love, to look at your situation and say, hey, I'm not losing my regain like I wanted to, so I'm gonna seek out other options. And I think that is the self-love, is you're just allowing yourself to be curious and learn new things and try new things out. And that's what life is we always say we have to be scientists in our own journeys, and you're doing that. So I just wanted to highlight that because through all of this, you're trying new things and you're doing it with enthusiasm that I haven't seen from you in the same way before.
Thank you.
I would agree. I know it's extremely difficult for me. I have a very hard time accepting help or love from others. It's just hard. And you have had to learn how to do that in a really short amount of time. And I feel like you did a really awesome job of tapping in the people you know would be the most help when they would be the most helpful. I just do. And I know how hard that was. I mean, I know you and I kind of had a random ass conversation one day, and I was like, ooh, but that was needed. You needed that, and you allowed yourself to go above, beyond your level of comfort and just seek support. And you did that constantly as you were going through this process with your dad. And it feels good, right? After it happens, it's nerve-wracking and you hate it at first, but then afterwards, right, you kind of get to this place where oh, that wasn't as bad as what I thought it would be.
No, and I really had to, like what Nat said, being there for the community. Like, I'm used to the role that we're in. Like, I love helping other people, being there for anybody. I don't ever see myself as someone who needs it. So I'm always willing to give it to somebody else. But when I really did need it, I found the struggle for me was even admitting that I needed it, because I was sitting there and people were like, well, how can I help? I don't really think there is any way. I wouldn't even try. I didn't even think about it. I wasn't like, oh, let me see if I can come up with a way that you can. No, I was just like, no, I'm good. Like, really, I think I'm all right. I got to just figure, and it wasn't until you and I had that random ass conversation that I was like, maybe I do need to take a minute, just kind of sit there and just kind of let it go. And it did. I spent the next 4 hours in the hotel room just kind of losing my shit. But honestly, that's what got me to where, I was able to continue to process what was going on, because I would have brought it back with me almost certainly had I not had that time to just sit there.
Well, we as a society, it's not even just a bariatric thing, although I'm noticing it a lot more within the bariatric community as obese people. We think that we can't have feelings. We think that we have to be the caretaker, the funny one, the overly kind one, whatever that is, we get into those role spaces. And I think that's where, like you said, Jason, you allowed yourself to kind of lose your shit and be sad and be upset and mourn. I allowed myself to be upset and mourn my situation. Like, when we allow ourselves to actually feel our feelings, that's monumental for us, because we never did. We would instantly go to the drive-thru and order a Dairy Queen, whatever, get a Blizzard, whatever it was. We didn't allow ourselves to feel our feelings. And so now from what it sounds like from Jason and I, it's like feeling our feelings and allowing ourselves to just be and be in our feelings is a part of our self-love. And I think that that has been one of the biggest lessons for me, honestly, in the last couple months.
You're muted, April.
Oh my God. This is how long it's been since we've recorded a podcast episode. Oh my God. That is par for the course. It's like me saying, welcome to the East to West WLS podcast. Like we're right back there.
Yes.
So let me rethink my thought here. We often equate strength with the void of emotion. And it really is like a false flag. It is not true. Strength and emotion go hand in hand. You need them to be strong. You need emotion to be strong. And I think the more in touch we are with our emotions and our feelings, the stronger we can actually become, because we're making decisions that are based in our real truth, our real emotional truth. And if we can do that, we are a stronger person for it. And I know, especially from a male perspective, I hear this all the time from you and all the other men that I know in my life. It's strength over everything else. And no, I don't need help, and no, nothing, I'm fine. Okay. In the words of my late, great Mary Blackburn, therapist extraordinaire, she would always ask me, and how's that working out for you?
So, I mean, you have to actually admit you have tear ducts, April? Is that what we're doing?
I don't have tear ducts. No, those were not a part of my DNA.
No, I actually, with you saying that though, like there was a couple of different times where, Sarah had to kind of check me on that, because she would ask me, she would be like, hey, you're not processing this at all. I'm like, well, no, because, I'm traveling with my son and my grandchildren. And I'm like, I have to, how can I break down if I'm here for him? Because he's 20. He doesn't, not like he just lost his grandpa. And I'm like, I need to be, strong I need to put on a strong, united front for him. And, she's just kind of laughing at it. She's like, really think that's how this has got to go? Like, why can't you both be sad together? And I'm like, well, because it's not how that works. She's like, why not? I didn't have an answer for her.
Well, don't you remember what I told you on that conversation, Jason? I was like, maybe the strength that your son needs to see now is you grieving the passing of your father.
Yeah, just to say, it doesn't just go for men, while it is majority men that don't express their feelings. I'll never forget one of the first times I saw my mother cry. Like, I mean, I was like in my preteens, 10, 11, 12, and I had never seen her viscerally cry. And I remember just how like jarring it was. And then even since then, she just doesn't cry. And I just, every time I personally see her cry, I just think, oh my God, like it's just very jarring and like unsettling to me, when really it's so strong to just feel your feelings and to allow that emotion to come out. It really is. And it's healing. I mean, studies have shown that actually crying actually does heal you, and it is good for you, and we're supposed to cry. But I think it's just, there's something to be said for that strength that we think is so strong. It's really not. You have to feel the feelings, and you have to go through those emotions in order to experience the good stuff.
Well, no, because had I not have let it out the night before, I don't think I would have been able to hold it together during his service and actually speak. I got up and spoke. Like, I had a whole thing where I spoke and like read a poem, or read a message that like his best friend sent. Like, I had all the stuff that I had done, and I would not have been able to have done had I not have taken that time the night before to process, because it was a lot. And so I was able to make it through, the next day as good as could be expected in the situation.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a I struggle showing my emotions physically on the outside, and it's also just not really who I am. I am an emotional person, but that's just not how it comes out. But what I found is that when I'm feeling that way, if I sit down and I write out what I'm feeling, if I just brain dump whatever I've got going on in here or in my heart rate, if I just get it out on paper, that is an effective tool that I can use to move those emotions out. Because if you don't move those emotions out, they are just sitting inside of you and they are blocking all of the good stuff. It is preventing you from moving forward. It is like a traffic jam in your soul. And the only way that you can move on from that you get the traffic flowing again, is you release those emotions. And however you can do so safely is a powerful tool that we can use. That is self-love.
Yeah.
It's self-love. It's how we show ourselves kindness.
Yeah.
As you were saying that though, Jason, what popped through my brain is like, maybe I should cry more. The last time I cried, last time I cried was because my friend died. And that was really, really, really sad. I got a puppy. So maybe if I cry more, I'll get another puppy. I mean,
still like have a friend.
I will never forget that. I will never forget that day. I was just like unconsolable, like couldn't get out of bed, just crocodile tears. And Grady, my husband, had never seen me cry, and we were like married, I don't know, 12, not 10, who knows, 8, 9 years at this point. And he just kept coming into the room, and he was like, oh my God, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong? I don't know, just like that. He was just like, well, maybe we should get a puppy. Okay. Then I got a puppy.
Oh, I thought you were crying because you got a puppy, which I was going to say.
No.
But, that's funny.
No, I was crying, and Grady didn't know how to console me. So his answer was like a puppy. I mean, he was just like, I don't know what else. I don't know how to.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Here's a hominies. It worked. So, there you go. Well, my summer has been nothing like what I thought it would be. Big shock, big surprise. I had all these grand plans to be like, I'm going to get up every day at the same time. I'm going to do all, I'm getting back to all that. No, haven't done diddly. Have not done squat. Every day feels like it has been a total dumpster fire. And I have done nothing but jump from like thing to event to here to there. I've been in multiple states, all these. I mean, I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I have done zero for all the things that I wanted to do. But the way that I have been practicing self-love this summer is I am attempting to let go of all of the things that I wanted to happen. And I'm leaning into the things that are happening kind of without me trying. And there is so much kind of on the BariNation plate right now that self-love to me is just sitting down and doing the work when I don't feel like doing it. It's just checking things off the list. It is just dedicating time for it. It's just problem solving. It's just saying, you have to do this. There's no getting around it. And yes, I wanted all of these great, glorious things to happen. And none of it has happened. And how I normally spend my summers has not been the case at all this year. The house has been packed. We've been entertaining nonstop. We've had, my family's been into town. It's just, I was telling my friend the other day, the first time I actually got to sit on the dock and do nothing was this past weekend. The first page I read of a book that's not related to like business was last night. I mean, by this time I should have been burnt 5 times. I should have gotten through 3 books, like I should have been jet skiing and kayaking. I haven't even, I don't even have my paddleboard out. I haven't even gotten the kayak out. Haven't been on a stiff and stroll with Stella, like all of these things that I absolutely love that feed my soul have not been able to do. So I've been practicing self-love by just saying, sometimes seasons are weird. And this is just going to be a weird season. This is going to be a weird summer. And when I can carve out pockets where it feels normal, I will. But I just have to let go of the expectations of the summers that have been. And I need to embrace the summer that is.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I'm just going to go crazy. And that's okay. And I've already been kind of forward thinking. It's like, I can work from anywhere. So I'm going to plant myself here at the lake in September, and I'm going to make September my new June, and just see how that goes. And if that doesn't feel great, then I'll pack up and go home. But I just have to stop dwelling in the, I wish, I want it land, and I have to just live in, this is what it is. And once I was able to kind of let that go, that kind of helped me move a little bit forward and just embrace the time. I was so relaxed this weekend. We spent weekends with some of our OG friends. We took 8,000 boat rides. We did absolutely nothing except lay on the dock, sit on the dock, sit in the floaty islands, right? Just enjoy each other's company. And it was finally on Saturday where I felt for the first time, I was just so relaxed. It was like, okay, I can enjoy this moment, even though I know, right, it's going to get crazy busy again, but just right here, right now, I can be relaxed. And I just took time to enjoy that moment. So my self-love looks very different this summer than what I thought it would, but it is what it is.
Huge, though. That's huge for you to be able to pause and pivot in such a monumental way, where you are letting go of things that you had planned, because you are a schedule planner down to the minute. You want all that, all of the itinerary has to be impeccable. And for you to be able to move like that, look, y'all talking about me changing, like that's monumental for you. That's growth, like, personified.
Yeah, you're really having to learn how to be present is what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And just
which
saying,
I hate.
Which I know you hate. I know you hate it. And that's why I'm saying it, because you are being present. You're saying, you know what, on Monday, I know it's going to be crazy again with all of this BariNation stuff. I'm just going to choose to live in the here and the now and enjoy what I can. And same goes for when you're saying, I just need to check off some boxes. This is my reality right now. I'm going to be present. I'm going to get things done so I can check off those boxes. And that is a really hard skill to have, but you're doing it. You're making it work for you. You're choosing to be in the moment, to be present. Because I mean, honestly, you and I are in very similar stages where it's like, if I don't stop and enjoy this right now, I'm going to be so mad when I get home and I didn't even enjoy it. The three of us are going to be together next week. I have been telling them I cry every time I think about it. So I'm not going to talk about it too much, talk about crying. I'm the opposite of April. I cry all the time. But I know that if I'm not present this week in my reality and what I need to do, I won't be able to be present when I'm with the people that I want to be with, and I won't be able to relax. I won't be able to, read my book. I won't be able to enjoy the moments that we have carved out for ourselves. And I think that that's just a skill that April and I both don't have, really, is to be present. So I'm really proud of you for making sure that you are more present, whether it's what you want to be doing or not.
Yeah, you guys know my favorite place to live is in the future. So to dial myself back and just acknowledge it is a challenge. But as soon as I got there, it just kind of seems like a weight has been lifted, and it's like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I've really been trying this year. One of my intentions for this year was I really wanted to focus on the things that I could control and let go of the things that I couldn't. And when plans don't go the way that I think they will, I cannot control that. And I just need to let that go. And then refocus on what I can control. And exactly what you said, Nat. I mean, like, there's so much good this summer. There's so much amazing things happening. I want to make sure that when those things are happening, I am present, and I can't be there if my brain is in the future or in the past, thinking about what I have coming up, or worrying about what I didn't get done, or stressing over something that's already happened. If I work hard now, I can feel like I'm not playing catch up during those moments that I do want to be present. So yeah, not easy. Not easy. This, self-love is not easy, but it's not as hard as what we think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Right. We psych stuff up in our minds. We build it up to be this huge mountain. When we actually start climbing up it, it's a molehill. Right. We have this great ability to talk it up so that we talk ourselves out of it. But yeah, it's a lesson I have to keep on repeating to myself. It's like, I have to stop talking myself out of doing the things that I know I need or want to do. I just have to do them.
Well, and it's worth it. Like, it's not easy, but once you nail it down, it's still worth it, because the relief and the weight that comes lifting off your shoulders because you took care of it, it just, it trust me, it gets a lot easier to do after the first couple times you do it, because it feels so good once you're done. Like, when you finally get to a point where you're respecting yourself enough to give yourself that time, like, oh yeah, trust me, it gets easier.
Yep. Well, the other thing I was beating myself up over too is like, I got a second bike down. So I'm at the lake. I got a bike here at the lake, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to ride every day. It's got done. Like, no, haven't done ish. Have not done nothing. The step bed challenge.
You're doing good.
No laundry, but it's dusty as hell because it hasn't been ridden in, since last summer. But that step bed challenge. So BariNation, we're hosting a step bed challenge. It starts July 30th, or 31st, this a Sunday, last Sunday in July. And normally I don't have to feel so motivated to get steps in, but this season of my life, this moment of my life, oh my God, I need all the motivation I can get. So I had to put $40 on the line, and I bet on myself, and I'll be damned if I am missing out on my $40 and I'm going to win some money. So I'm so excited for this challenge to start, because it is going to force me to do things, to move. And when I move, I feel better. I get more ideas up here, right? I mean, like, movement is a pillar of our bariatric life, and I have been neglecting it. And sometimes you just got to force yourself into doing those things. And that step out challenge is going to force my ass to walk every single day.
Well, yeah.
Doing it. So if you are also looking to move this summer, you need a little motivation, we invite you to join us in the Step Out Challenge. It's not just for BariNation members. It's not just for the bariatric community. It's for anybody that would like to learn about self-love through movement this summer. It's super easy to join. Just go download the Step Out app, create an account, and then search for the game code BN Summer. It will bring up the BariNation Step Out game. We have amazing weekly prizes to you guys that we're doing. We have some special interviews and content that we're going to be sharing with our Step Vet participants. So please join us, and invite your friends and family to join us as well, because it's going to be a wonderful challenge. And it's a super great way to find that motivation when you're like me and just don't have it. So there you go. Yeah. There's my public service announcement. All right, friends. Well, thank you for taking the time to catch up with one another. The three of us desperately needed this conversation. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, very much so.
Jason, my friend, you want to take us out?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ladies, for joining me and each other. And thank the community again, because you guys, I swear, you guys show up for us in all the ways that we could possibly ever imagine. So any help you think we could have given you over the years, you've given us that back tenfold. So we can't thank you enough, because we wouldn't be able to do what we do without you guys. And just remember, at the end of the day, you've got this, we've got you, and we will see you next time.
Awesome. Bye, friends.
Bye, everybody.